Welcome back to this week's podcast. It's just me and Mr. Holmes, Jan Molby, Darren himself. On
Good evening.
tonight, we've got a couple of people missing, Easter holidays and busy with different things. I think Andrew's gone to watch a game tonight, and I think James is actually playing in an over 35s league, which will be fun for him. Um, we me and Darren decided to come on and talk. We are recording this slightly earlier. So at the moment, the Villa game hasn't kicked off, but we will kind of keep updated with what the score is throughout the game and stuff. We're hoping not to be on for 2 hours like we have previously. We seem to be able to talk a lot. So how are you, Daz? You okay, mate?
All good, man. Thank you, Chris. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. It's been a weird week of football, hasn't it? It's been a bit strange.
Been a bit strange, mate. Yeah, I mean, it's been some outstanding results and unexpected results, really. So yeah, it's been
Yeah,
good.
it seems to be. It seems to. I don't know. It's the Premier League's a weird one at the moment. We are going to talk the Premier League because obviously, a lot of people want to
It's
hear
like we
about
said
it.
the other week, isn't it? It just really feels like a Leicester season.
It
And
just feels like
Liverpool
everybody's limping over the
fixtures.
line, don't you think? Like it's kind of nobody's kind of. I just, yeah, nobody's dominating, are they? Like it kind of one of those. I know Liverpool have. I mean, it's only the second
They
time
did
they've
earlier on
lost,
in the
isn't it?
season. That's why they've got themselves in the position they are.
Yeah, I think, yeah,
And it
absolutely. And
looks like they are potentially going to just limper over the line. But
what do you so tell me about, so obviously there's been a bit of banter with you regarding Liverpool and stuff like that. I saw, is it three losses out of the last four if you include PSG, Newcastle, and then Fulham?
yeah,
And you've got the Everton
the
game
Everton
in the
game.
middle of that, haven't you?
The Everton game was the one I was nervous about. Although in saying that, Fulham have been a bit of a thorn in our side recently. We maybe like the other year, it was a 4-3. We scraped to win, and then we've scored. But they've seemed to manage to break us down and score and give us a game. To be fair, which they have a lot of teams this last couple of seasons, especially this year. I think it's their highest position they've been in the Premier League potential finish. But
They're not a bad team. I mean,
no,
it's easy to
no,
overlook teams
they
like
are. Yeah, they've
Fulham.
got some decent players,
Yeah,
haven't
they
they?
do. They've built quite a good squad, haven't they? It's a weird one though, Liverpool. 'Cause I've got my opinion on Liverpool, and it's my opinion, and that's fine. It's interesting to what your take is from a Liverpool fan. Obviously, you probably know a lot more of the inside outs than I do when it comes to Liverpool. So how are you judging this season so far? Like, let's just as a season as a whole, how would you judge it so far?
I think it's from my perspective. I think, and I keep going on about a Leicester season. Historically, the most consistent team wins the league. Not necessarily always the best side. All right, recently in more recent form, you can say Man City have been the best side and have been the most consistent. But you look at this season with them; they're in a transition period. You look at Arsenal, it's been no secret that Arsenal have got a great defensive record, but they needed a striker. They've needed one for 2 or 3 years. And if they had got themselves a decent striker, I think they would have pushed City further last year, potentially the year before, and they certainly probably would have won the league this year. So, but from Liverpool's perspective, I think it's because the team that they've got is okay. It's one that Klopp built. Slot's done his little tweaks. He's changed things just ever so slightly as well. It's not like he's done wholesale changes. He's just tweaked things here and there that made him defensively better. And obviously, Salah has had a season and a half because without him and his goals, we would probably be where Man United are. So we're actually, fortunate we've got Salah, but at the same again, I know we have this laughing joke about ifs and buts. You can't play football on ifs and buts. If we didn't have Salah, but we do. If Jota wasn't misfiring, I know you've got your opinion on Jota, but if he wasn't misfiring, he would have helped Salah out more, and we probably would have been already gone over the line by now. Darwin Nunes, I've got egg on my face all season. I've been saying he'll come good, he'll come good, he'll come good.
You
and
still
his
might. You just the thing is, you don't know. Like I
yeah.
know we take the Mickey and it's easy to poke you, and it's always easy to poke the team who are at the top, right? It's always easier to do that. Like you can't really poke fun at Man United fans now because it's like kicking a puppy, isn't it? It's like there's no
Poking at themselves now.
yeah, that's it. There's no bigger piss taker Man United than Man United themselves. So it is easy. Nunes may come good. You don't know. He's still quite young, isn't he? He's not like peaking in his career yet. So
He's only about 22, 23.
yeah, so there's a
Yeah, I
long
mean,
there's
his
a long way to go
international
for
goals
him.
comes with credential. He came from Benfica with credential. Even his first season at Liverpool,
Yeah,
his stats were up there. He was scoring, and if you want to scoring, he was assisting. This year, he's just I don't know what it is. He just I mean, he seems to have fell to bits and gone off a little bit. Whether it's he doesn't get on with Slot because players and managers don't always see eye to eye.
no,
So whether it's so there's a factor in there that he doesn't see eye to eye with Slot, and he's got that South American thing about him, and he's probably maybe sulking or spitting his dummy
yeah,
out. You don't
yeah,
know, do you?
maybe. It was a good game to watch though. I did think yeah, I think we talked about it. Van Dijk looks really leggy at the moment, and that's kind of telling. And I think the problem just if you analyze actually the football is Van Dijk's really covered a lot of Robertson.
Well,
Like,
yeah, yeah, but he's covered Robertson a lot. He's covered, yeah, because Robertson hasn't had a really particularly massive
no, and I
season.
think the
He's
problem is,
the one at 30, 31. But not only that, Slot hasn't rotated enough for me, and Van Dijk has played every game.
yeah,
I mean, my fear now is, I mean, I don't know if you've heard the radio today, but it's all speculation again, like we had the crack on Monday, because now Van Dijk and Salah apparently are both signing contracts.
yeah, I saw that.
But then Van
Romano's come
Dijk
out and said it,
openly
hasn't he?
said a few weeks ago, until the end of the season, if anything comes out, it's all speculation because I will make my mind up then.
Mm.
Yes, players say things, yes, players change their minds. So, but for my fear of that is you've got Salah, all right, his stats are up there. You look at whether it's because of the contract situation. You look at the last 5 or 6 games, he's been poor.
Yeah,
You can't even say he's been poor. He just hasn't been in the game.
no,
I think and for teams to come and suss him out, it's took 5 and 6 years to suss him out. I don't get that. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
now
no.
doubling up on him,
It's form, isn't it?
yeah.
I mean, it would have been a hell of a job to have carried on the form that he was in for a full season. I mean,
Oh,
Haaland did it, but Haaland's very different to Salah. Salah's a lot
well,
more football. Haaland's goal scoring. It's different. It is different. Um, but yeah, I looked at it and I thought Van Dijk isn't able to cover up Robertson's mistakes right now, and Canate's mistakes right now, and because I don't want to say his legs are gone because that's too much, but he just looks leggy. He looked leggy
that's
against Beto.
that's where I was going though, Chris. At
Yeah,
33, they're giving him a rumored to be a 2-year contract. 33, and we've said this before. We said this a few weeks ago. Anybody who's played, you just know that it's like you can play and your legs just go.
Father Time's undefeated. I
Gradual,
don't care what people say.
they just go.
Yeah,
And all of a sudden, you've got two big players there on big wages, and they're either going to play and let you down, or they're going to be sat on the bench, and it's big wages. So that's why it's
Hmm.
always a gamble. And I think that's probably why these contracts have probably stalled a little bit and rolled on. I think Van Dijk and Salah have both openly said they want to stay at Liverpool, but I think it was more about let's see where his stats are at the end of the season.
it's not a. The thing is, it's not a it's not a black and white decision, is it? I think from a Liverpool point of view, like you say, at 33, 34, the Cristiano Ronaldos of the world can skew people's vision of it. Like
He's,
there's people who finish at 32 because their legs are gone. Like it's
yeah,
not, and they're not playing less anymore. Like they're still playing And to be fair, Cristiano's legs have gone. We saw it in the Euros, really.
Yeah,
He didn't, he's gone out to Saudi, and yeah, I keep seeing that he's scoring goals, and that's fine, and I get it. But his legs had gone a couple of years. That's why he went to Saudi.
yeah. That's why he was on the verge of being bombed in the national side, wasn't it?
Yeah,
And
that's it. So
the
it
manager's
is.
changed and he's back in again.
So
So
it is interesting that it's come out today and we said it a couple of weeks ago, didn't it? That we wouldn't be surprised if those two stayed and Trent went.
yeah,
Um, um, I'm not surprised that they're staying because I think experience and things like that are always going to help. But I think Liverpool, from a Liverpool point of view, I think their kind of succession plan has to start now. Like
of
it,
course,
it,
100%. Yeah,
it has to work hand in hand. You can't be in a position again in 2 years' time where you're going, are they going to sign another year because we don't have anybody to replace them? Your succession plan has to
that's
start
why
now.
that's why I wasn't really overly bothered with Trent Alexander-Arnold. Don't get me wrong, great player, great servant, not the best defender. That's not a secret, but his passing ability, forward play, creating chances, we are going to miss.
What he offers to that football team is
But on a flip side to that, you look at Conor Bradley. He came on and he played something like, I can't remember, 25 minutes or something like that. He had something like created four chances
yeah.
with
He
so
looks
many
good as well,
dribbles.
doesn't he, Conor
But
Bradley?
and he's a, so losing Trent is like, oh bloody hell, yeah, we're losing Trent. But Conor Bradley going to come in and he's going to be a new Trent. He's going to do what he's done for the last 5 or 6 years. So
Yeah.
Conor Bradley, I'm not bothered about. Van Dijk, I'm a bit more concerned about because Kwanzaa came in last season, absolutely brilliant. He's really stuttered this year. He's really had it and missed games. He's had really good moments, really bad moments, and he just doesn't seem to have hit it off like he did last year.
Yeah.
But so Kwanzaa Kanate, fair enough. I mean,
They've got
another
a
player
Rickett in them, haven't they, though?
another player I really like, and I don't know if you particularly rate him, is Gomez. Gomez, when Liverpool won the league in that all right COVID season, the partnership that started off was Gomez and Van Dijk, and that was the partnership for about the first 20 games or something like that. And then he did get injured again because he's prone to it. And then that's when Matic come in and Matic took over, and they formed the partnership. But Gomez for me is a good player. I like him. He's a good clubman. Play left, play right, play middle. So that's fine. If
That's
we have
always my problem.
got,
That's always my problem, though, with players is
if you're a utility man, you don't
when you
nail a position.
utility, it's really good from a club,
Yeah,
right? And I always said this about Rooney, and I think this is probably going to be a really sweeping statement, right? This is going to be really sweeping. But when you play right back, then the next week you play left back, then the next week you play centre back, and then and you're moving around. That shows me that you're jack of all, master of none, and that you don't get paid when you're master of none.
no.
Do you know what I mean? Like you have to be you have to be a master of your craft to get paid what you should be paid, really. I always thought that with Rooney, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he was a bad player, but I always remember they played a Champions League game against Real Madrid, Manchester United did, and he played Rooney wide left. And I was having this conversation with someone, and I said, if he was that good, if Ferguson thought he was the world's best centre forward, there's no way you're playing wide left. There's
I
just no way.
yeah,
I
I
know you
under
go, he can do a job out there, and I understand that. But if you are that good, you basically fill everything around him and you let him go and be that good. And I always had a worry with Rooney that I mean, he was fantastic, but let's get it right. I mean, he was playing in
yeah.
one
No,
of the best teams of
I
all
see. That's where
time.
I'm going to put a spin on that, in the fact that because he was that good, you could use him on the left. You could drop him in midfield,
Yeah, I
use him
do.
as a 10. You
Yeah,
could put him as a striker. But I get what you're saying. If you're at the like Cristiano Ronaldo played right wing, he was the best right wing ever. Same with Salah. Salah stays on the right, doesn't, all right, ventures sometimes into the middle of the plane, last 20 minutes up the top or whatever, which they've done in the past. But ultimately, he is the right winger. But the spin on that for me with Rooney is if you've got a decent player like Rooney who's going to get you goals from left side, he's going to get you goals from a number 10, he's going to get you goals as a centre forward. And when you've got class centre forwards coming in like Man United did have back in them days, you kind of shuffle in the pack so you do get everybody in there who's got goals in them. I get what you're saying about Gomez being more of a utility player as a defender, but as a forward, I think that's why they're worth the weight in gold, isn't it? That's why they're paid the mega bucks
Yeah,
because as a forward,
I do.
you can slot into them different areas.
Gomez is a weird one because if you'd had said 5 years ago, you'd have said he'd have been the stalwart at the back with
With Van
Van
Dijk,
Dijk,
yeah,
and it kind of just has an happen of injuries and whatever. So, but just looking forward, then. So I think what there's 7 games left. Is there? Is that some 7 games?
6, 7, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Still think the league's done, isn't it? Actually, from a neutral fan point of view, which I am really, uh, the Premier League's actually going to be a crap run
That's
in.
what I say. We're going to limp over the line, whether we get
I think everybody is.
I think the problem is with it is, and you hit it on the head earlier about the consistency thing. With even if Liverpool drop points, Arsenal will. As much as Arsenal had a fantastic result last night, they beat Fulham last week, but there's still that in 7 games. I can't see Liverpool not getting enough points to
I think
rank up.
Liverpool have to lose four games out of the next 7.
Yeah,
And they got Leicester or something or
we've
something.
got West Ham. I think West Ham's the next game.
Is it? Yeah, just
We've got Arsenal to play.
yeah. We're talking about a guard of honor, aren't they? Can you
Yeah,
imagine
yeah. We've got
Arteta's in
Arsenal.
the
Well,
guard of honor?
it won't happen now because we didn't play. We didn't win against Fulham.
Oh, I see. That's a
So,
shame, isn't it?
yeah, but we got Arsenal to play, so there's 3 points potential there. Okay, it could be 3 points clawed back, but I don't know. I think going back to the Van Dijk thing, I think he's just got ears on burnout because where's what my point with Gomez was. If Gomez had been fit, he potentially could have rotated with Van Dijk a bit more, because we haven't really got the trust in Kwanzaa this year.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's going to be, I say it's going to be interesting. It probably isn't going to be that interesting, is it? It's amazing that, and I know the Premier League, speaking to you and speaking to Coops, I know the Premier League means probably more than anything actually at this point.
To Liverpool.
Yeah, to Liverpool,
100%,
Liverpool fans.
100%, because they get the ridicule and they're never celebrated with the fans in COVID.
Yeah.
And they don't, as much as it was, they won it, simple as. I don't even think the club really think, so I think
No,
this
it's like there's an asterisk against it, isn't there?
yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a notch on, it's 19, they won it, simple as that. But I don't even think anybody really, because you couldn't celebrate it and you couldn't really grasp it. And it was like, yeah, it was a massive achievement after 30 years. They needed that. But
Yeah.
Liverpool as a club, their bread and butter has always been the league. That is their first and foremost trophy.
Yeah.
Then, I mean, you look at like James's comment the other week about to Arsenal, as long as they're top 4, they're happy because they're in the Champions League.
Yeah,
But
crazy.
with Liverpool, the
How-
bread and butter has always been we want to win the league, and they've been close. I think they've been runners up probably 5 times
Yeah.
since the last
Yeah.
time won it, and
And to be fair, from a Liverpool point of view, it's a pity that they've come up against Man City, really.
yeah.
Um,
Because there's
because
times, even against Man United, there's times where they've accumulated more points than the previous season,
yeah,
but because they've been so good, they've still beat them
that's
in the
it.
league because
Yeah.
of the points they've accumulated. So
So talking about Man United then, so did you watch the Manchester derby? I'm guessing.
I didn't watch that, mate. No, I didn't watch
No,
the
it's
derby.
probably a good thing. It's probably about an hour and 45 minutes that I'll never get back.
I actually thought
Um,
Man United would turn City over because they've got that bit of knack about that, haven't they? But
yeah, they seem to scab a result when they need it, don't they?
yeah,
They
which
have
is supposing a 0-0 draw is a good
it's a
result for
good result,
United.
Man United at the moment. Yeah.
Current
Did
state.
you see? I don't know if you watched. Did you what? Do you ever see the Gary Neville podcast? He always does it after the Sunday game. Um, do you ever see that?
Not the overlap one or whatever you call
Not
it.
the overlap. He does. It's about a 20-minute podcast, and he does it sat in the gantry straight after the game. So
No,
he
that's
talks
not
after the
seen it.
game. Yeah, and he basically that's where we started talking about. And he kind of echoed exactly what we've said. I mean, is this our fifth podcast now? I think this is our fifth that
Sure.
we've been
Yeah,
saying that football's
yeah,
so robotic now that
yeah, yeah. You Snapchat it.
I
You
did. Yeah, I sent it to you.
didn't
Yeah,
you? Yeah.
he's
But it's
basically said.
ironic. There was I was listening to the radio as well, and I thought of you straight away and thought of the pod because it was exactly the same comment.
Yeah.
Exactly the same comment. It was. I don't want to say it was Gabby Abondolo because I hate him, but it might have been Gabby Abondolo, and he was saying it was like they're like statues that just and it was almost like I can't remember I don't think it was yourself or basically it said they got to run off the pitch to ask what they need to do next.
Yeah, that's it
To
was
what you're
Gary Neville said it. He said exactly the
was it
same
never
thing.
was
Like they go down injured so they can get advice on what to do.
yeah,
And he called it, and to be fair to him, he called it a disease that
yeah,
that's got into the game, and he says he hates it. He says it's boring. He says
yeah.
it's not a good product, and I agree. Just on that, just so I'll link a nice transition. So this morning, I spoke to Andrew this morning, and I had a conversation with Andrew this morning about Declan Rice's free kick.
Still haven't seen it yet.
He's not seen Declan. Oh, what either of them?
No, right. I'll Google
Yeah,
it.
while we're on, you need to look at Declan Rice's free kick. But so just to kind of let everybody in. So last night, Oldham were playing Woking at Oldham. So I had Oldham Woking on the TV, and I had Arsenal Real Madrid on my phone. So I was watching both. I probably watched more of Arsenal on my phone than I did of Oldham because Oldham were terrible. But so so he scored this free kick, Darren, just to kind of talk you through it and
Yeah,
know if anybody who's listening hasn't seen it. So he's probably 23, 24 yards out. He's right side of the D. So he's not fully in the middle of the goal, he's just slightly to the right side. The keeper Courtois puts four people in the wall, and he stands his right, Declan Rice's left hand side slightly of the wall. So there is a gap to the right. But I didn't have the sound on. So I watched the set piece coach jumps up, right? And the set piece coach is doing that, like telling
whip
him
it.
to whip it, right? So I'm kind of watching this with no sounds. There's no context to it at all. And he basically stands up and he takes his free kick and he bends it on the bend he gets on this free kick is incredible, really. The ball, if you watch the ball, it's virtually like perpendicular, just spinning. It's so good. He's hit it so clean. And it's curled round the wall and gone, not, I wouldn't say top corner, probably two-thirds up, right in at the post, basically.
But out of,
Well,
out, of, out of the keeper's reach, obviously.
yeah, but I'm watching it going, has that set piece coach just told him what to fucking do? So I'm sat with Andrew this morning and I'm saying, if a fucking set piece coach, if I've stepped up to take a free kick for Arsenal against Real Madrid in the quarterfinal Champions League, and I've got some bluffer who's probably never kicked a ball professionally before telling me how to take a free kick, I'd be telling him to fuck off. I'd be stood in the middle of the pitch telling him to fucking do what? Like, well, I watched an interview with I watched an interview with Declan Rice after, so and there is a point to this, and I was so pleased that he came out and said it because he said, "Oh, he's taking all the credit," but he was actually telling me to bend it back post to put a cross in for someone to
Right.
get the end of it. He said, "So this guy," he said, "it looks like he's telling me to bend it in. He's not. He's telling me to actually cross the ball." Um, so so he said, but I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna have a go, and he scored a great goal, and then his second free kick was just even better. But
Was the second one the better of the two, was it?
yeah, the second one, in my opinion, the second one, mate, it couldn't go any more top corner. It's hit the side netting, like it's that good. But it's one of those where, and we've probably all done it, where we're feeling ourselves. Do you know, like you've got that feeling in you where anything I do right now is coming off, and he just stepped up
I'm
and
just
just
watching the first
whacked
one
one into
now.
the top corner. Yeah,
Oh,
so
yeah.
you could
It's the
tell
distance as well, isn't it?
it is. You could
Distance
tell
on
you
well.
could tell he's on a high, and he's obviously feeling himself from it. So fair play to the lad. I like Declan Rice.
Yeah, I
Declan
do.
Rice is one of those guys who he looks and sounds genuine, doesn't he? Like he's
But
not.
even like in the last champion Euros, he got hammered about being shit, but I rate him.
He's
The
not
only
a number six though. He's a number eight.
yeah,
I
with
mean,
a
he
proper
ran all
player
over.
because Kane kept dropping so far deep, Saka kept dropping deep, Bellingham kept dropping deep. I'm just looking at the second one now. Fucking hell, yeah, that's better. Second one's
Second
better.
one's better, but
Yeah,
you can tell he's feeling himself, and he's just decided I'm gonna
he
hit it.
fancied it because of the first one.
Yeah,
Thought,
that's
why not the second
absolutely
one?
it. So, but
But,
yeah, I like Declan Rice is a really humble guy, but he's not a six. He
but
ran all over Real
every
Madrid.
time he picks his head up, in the they're all saying about oh he goes square, goes backwards. Yeah, where could he go? You got Kane at left back, you got
Yeah,
Saka at right back. You're picking your head up to look for your forwards. Where are you going to go? Oh, I best go that way
we'll
to
get
keep
to
the
England
ball.
one day, I'm
And
sure
he
we
got
will.
hammered for being shit, and I
Well,
like him.
I
I'd
thought
have him.
Arsenal were really good, but it kind of looked a little bit like it was Arsenal's season in a game, right? It was kind of like one of those where they'd put all their eggs into that basket, and it was all that. Real Madrid looked a shadow of themselves a little bit. I thought they got beat at the weekend, didn't they? I think via Valencia. I think scored in the last minute or something.
Yeah, they're on
And
a yeah. They've got a few injuries, and they're
they're on a
rocking.
bit of a bad run, aren't they,
Yeah,
Real Madrid? I think they were topped by a few points, and now they're second behind Barca. But I mean, it was a great result. But I kind of wanted to get your take on something that I took from the game from afterwards, right? So Oldham finishes. There's about 15 minutes left of the Real Madrid game. So I put the Real Madrid game on the TV, the Arsenal game, and I had the sound on for the last 15 minutes, right? When did it become a thing that an English team, the fans of an English team, boo and jeer an English player that's playing for a foreign team? When did that become a thing? Like, I listened to it, mate. Every time Bellingham got the ball, they're fucking booing, they're jeering him. He gave the ball away, tried to pass, he gave the ball away, they're all fucking cheering it. Like, cheering louder than anything else that they're cheering for, but they're cheering to see this lad fail, right? And I get that he's playing against your team, I understand that. But why is it worse when there's an English lad playing for a foreign team? Why is that a thing? The only reason he's getting it is because he's English, which is really backwards for me because
it is backwards because like, and especially a club like potentially Arsenal, and I might be off the scale here, but we had the same conversation about getting excited about England. Do we get excited about England now? And I think it was Andrew who made the comment and said because we're not in London, right? So we're
Hmm,
not in London. We don't get excited. And I think it was yourself who said, who wants to go and watch England on a Friday night after they've been at work to travel to London to watch England? But the actual stadium was full.
yeah,
They had a fairly good gate. But the comment about them all being in London is a fair comment. So they So you know what I mean. So that was like, but why boo an Englishman? Don't know the answer to that one. The only other thing that I can think of, did he get linked with Arsenal and turn them down? I can't remember that one. Can't
I
remember.
can't remember that one either. But it's
So
just that
so
it's
the booing. I don't. I mean, even like when Liverpool, and I could go back to Liverpool again. When ex-players ever came back to Anfield, they never ever got booed. Never.
no,
Didn't matter who they were, whether there was if Darwin Nunes comes back next season, they will Nunes. They'll sing his name. They'll
yeah,
and they never. I've never witnessed that. I'm not going to sit here and say they've never done that, but I don't think they have. Everton players they have.
yeah.
Any ex-Everton players,
Of course they
Arteta's a,
do. Oldham
Arteta's
are
a
the
prime
same.
example.
Yeah, Oldham do
They
the
hate
same.
Everton players, and you know, so
But it's just the and then there was a Arsenal Fan TV, which is or what Arsenal TV or whatever the fuck it's called. I mean, those that fucking dross that's on the TV that's just like brain rot, isn't it? They basically they interviewed a guy and he said, "Oh fuck, Arsenal! It's the best fucking game I've ever seen." And there was only one number five on that pitch, and his name was Thomas Partey. Jude Bellingham. He was invisible. He was embarrassing, and I'm going, "Are you
he's a
fucking?"
kid.
I tell you what, I bet in fucking 9 months ago, you had an England shirt on with his fucking name on your back, like. And but from if you
But
look
that's my point with the Arsenal fans going to watch England,
yeah,
singing him and cheering him, and you know what I mean. And then he's come to Arsenal as a Real Madrid player, so now they're booing him. That
but
was
you get but
that
from a
was me.
personal point of view, right? And I know you've probably got to have a really thick skin, and you've got to be, and it maybe don't matter. But if I was Jude Bellingham and I was turning up for England, like I'd be thinking, you fucking booed me because I'm English.
Yeah,
Like, and now you want me to pull you out the shit.
be the best player on the
Yeah,
planet.
like now you fucking love me.
But that's how fickle football is,
But
isn't it?
I don't mind. Listen, I don't mind can giving him a bit of shit because he's a Real Madrid player, but don't give him more shit than you're giving
Yeah,
Camavinga, who plays for France.
yeah.
Like, why would you give the English guy more shit than the French guy? Like that for me, I just I can't. The only reason why he's doing it is because he's English. I just
Yeah,
didn't get it. Like, what
no,
we're so we just want these guys to fail. Like, if Arsenal had won 3-0 and Bellingham would have absolutely battered the fuck out of them, but they got beat 3-0, I mean, that'd have been brilliant for English football, wouldn't it?
yeah.
Like, like I couldn't give a shit about Spanish football. I couldn't give a shit about.
Well, I don't watch hardly any foreign football. Not, you know.
No, I used to. I used to watch a lot, but
Yeah, you said before.
it's
But I
all.
tell you, this is the thing for me is I knew about Van Dijk because he was at Celtic. I do keep an eye on the Scottish football, but I don't. But I
Yeah,
knew about Van Dijk because he was at Celtic. Then he went to Southampton, and then obviously Liverpool. I heard nothing about Canate. I didn't know nothing about Jurgen Klopp. I knew nothing about Arne Slot. You know, it was like
yeah.
these people, and then people always say, "Oh, what about that sign?" Or what about? I ain't got a clue. I don't watch him.
No.
And it happened with Mo Salah, and it happened with because Mo Salah was due to sign to Liverpool, and Chelsea Dick Turpin the deal, didn't they? And they did the same with Willian. It was just Willian was coming, and then
Oh,
Chelsea,
did they?
yeah. And but that's why he only had a season at Chelsea, and then went off to Roma
Yeah.
because Mourinho sniped him and then didn't play him, so he went off to back
Yeah.
to get his
It was
football
the
in
same
Roma.
with Kevin De Bruyne, right? He
De
did the
Bruyne, yeah,
same. Yeah.
Mourinho did it. I don't even think they had a scouting team. They
No,
just looked at who people were going for. Right, we'll have him then.
but
You know, of
at the time, I mean, they had all the money, didn't they, Chelsea?
course they did. I
But
just,
yeah, just it really bugged me that shit. Like, just you don't have to make a point of just bullying this
doing
English
him because
lad
he's
who
English.
is our only fucking hope.
Yeah,
Like realistically, like who else we got? Foden's gone off the boil.
going to Foden. I mean, I heard a comment on the radio that oh, Man City's manager.
Pep.
Pep. He was apologising and saying about not apologising. He was saying about the mentality of the Man United
Yeah,
support.
they were
I
singing
don't
songs
know
about
the
his mum
song
when he
is,
was getting.
but there was hammering his mum of all accounts,
Yeah,
just singing
they
about
were.
his mum.
I, I'll not say the words, but they were singing a song about his mum as he was limping off. But I kind of get that because it's Man City, Man United. Like it's you are born, if you are born a Man United fan, you are born to hate Liverpool and Man City. If you're born a Man City fan, you're born to hate Man United. If you're born a Liverpool fan, you're born to hate Man United and Everton. It's just what it is. So it kind of there's no real kind of limit to what you do. Obviously there is, but when you're in a football stadium and you're singing songs, when it comes into those derbies, Rangers, Celtic, fucking whoever it is,
Oh, they become evil, don't they? They
yeah,
become
there's no limit to it, and I get
yeah,
that. But an English guy playing for Real Madrid in Arsenal, kind of just thought, what the fuck are you? Why are you just picking on him? Why are you
yeah.
picking on him? I just didn't get
No, I
it.
get
I
it.
just,
I get why you would think like that. It's like,
yeah,
like I said, I didn't watch the game,
no. The only
yeah,
reason was he was
I
English. It's the
100%
only
get.
reason they could have done it. And we just want to see lads. We just want to see people fail, don't we? That's basically just
Going
all
back,
we
going
do.
back, going back to that. Then I've seen it, and I haven't really witnessed it at a game, but on podcasts and on social media, booing your own players and slating your own players. Now, I know you said about you've got your centre forward and he's a bit of a cart horse, but he's got you 15, 20 goals this year or whatever it be.
Yeah,
But
I would.
if it's like me sticking up for Darwin Nunes. Yes, I've been left
Yeah,
on face, but you support a team, support them. If the
yeah.
shit,
I have. We have this
support,
at Oldham at the moment, right? So just to kind of, and I know this is we'll probably lose listeners because I'm talking about Oldham, but we can kind of link it to the football.
no,
So
it's football. It's all
Oldham are
about it.
fourth in the league, so they're fourth. They haven't been in the playoffs for about in 15, 20 years, whatever it is. I don't know the date, but it's a long time. Right, like not had, I think last year or the year before was the first top 10 finish we'd had for about 20 years. Like it's been that bad being an Oldham fan. I liken being an Oldham fan. I spoke to my wife about it yesterday after the game. She asked me how they got on. And I don't know why she asked me how they got on, but she did. And I said it's like somebody turning up to my house every Saturday and Tuesday and telling me they're going to kick me in the bollocks, and me going, "Well, you're not going to kick me in the bollocks this Saturday," and they just kick me in the bollocks anyway. And I stopped believing that they're going to do it, and they just do it anyway. That's what being an Oldham fan is. But we are fourth in the league. We've not been that high up before. We are like Liverpool, a little bit limping over the line. We had a great first half of the season, a really not very good second half of the season, but we are still fourth because of how good our first half of the season was. But there's a lot of the fan base, social media wise, so don't get me wrong, it's not, it's not all the fan base, it's only what's on social media, it's only a snippet of it, isn't it? Um, but they want the manager out. And
Yeah,
and Andrew wants the manager out.
it's almost. I always say this: be careful what you wish for.
Yeah,
Be
but
careful
Andrew,
what you wish for because there's been certain Liverpool pockets that want Fenway FSG out,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And it's like, why? Well, they don't invest enough in players, really. They gave you Van Dijk, they gave you
yeah,
Allison, they gave you Darwin Nunes, sorry, but 60, 70, 80 million, whatever it was. They've built a brand new training ground. They've extended two sides of the stand. You want them out because of what? Well, because they're taking money out of the club. Yeah, that's what all clubs do. That's what they are. They're not the businesses now. They're
yeah.
not. They're
I
not.
think I think that's the problem. I think that's a big problem nowadays is the transition between understanding it's a football club and it's a business. I think
Yeah,
that's the biggest kind of divide at the moment is the understanding. So Oldham have released a thing in the last couple of weeks where they've got £5 million investment and they're looking for another £65 million investment. So they want 70 in total. and that investment is to they basically own all the land around the stadium. So they want to build. They've called it Sports Town, which I think is probably the worst name I've ever heard. But it kind of does what
I
it
think
says on
you
the
call something like that because
yeah,
it's
and that's Sports
nonsense, isn't
Town.
it?
But they're basically putting a massive 3G on there. They're putting netball courts in there. They're putting cricket nets in there. They've got part of their stand, their new stand at the top floor, they're making into classrooms. So there's going to be like a lot of an education service there, so that the academies can be there and stuff. And I think Manchester Thunder netball team are going to play there and stuff. And I think they're quite big in the netball world. I'm not a netball fan, so.
If it's
But
beach volley, I could have told you all about that.
yeah, yeah, thought so. I have played netball. Like, there'll be a story one day with that. But um, and for the town of Oldham, which is like horrible, it's amazing. Like get an investment, they're going to have all this there. It's going to be like this. They're going to have a convention centre so they can get live acts in and and do stuff which Oldham doesn't have. So for Oldham, it's fantastic. Do you know? And they did an interview this week on Monday. It came out and they talked all about it. And they're even talking about the 3G and the volleyball and all that should be there by September. So they're really pushing ahead with it. And it's brilliant. We've got new owners in. They've come in who are Oldham people, and they're building Oldham, and it's great. Do you know the comments that were on that fucking thing on the interview? The comments were, well, what about the football? What about Saturday? What about Tuesday? What about the contract for that player? Are you not bothered about the football? Are you not bothered about winning on Saturday? Are you not bothered? And you must look at it. Is it? 'Cause I own a business, so you must look at it. We go, are you shitting me? Like the amount of work I'm doing to benefit them, not me. Obviously, they'll benefit at some point through either financially or whatever it will be. But do you know you're gonna fucking benefit from this? The amount of money that will come into Oldham because of it, and they'll own parts of it, and they'll make the club sustainable because the ground and the area will be used
The
twenty-four
more you,
seven.
the more you speculate, the more you're going to make, and you
Yeah,
can give them better players a new contract. You can give them
if you can
better.
keep the doors open for 365 days a year, not 20 days a year, you're going to earn more money, which is going to generate more for the business, which is the actual football club.
Yeah,
The comments on there, mate, are just they're mind-boggling. And
you
this
know,
is sorry, just to go back to it, is we're fourth, we've got that going on, and people want the manager out, and people want the CEO out because the CEO apparently, because of Sports Town, isn't focused on the football side, and it is just honestly, it's
I know. Do you
well,
know what?
Andrew wants the manager out, and Andrew's a really
Yeah,
level-headed football person, and he wants the manager out. And my point to that is, at what point do players take responsibility for shit?
yeah,
And the
which is always at any level. That's
full
always the same.
circle, in it.
How many of these players are taking responsibility at Man United? They've had manager after manager after manager, and these are good managers. They're not just managers; they're good
No,
managers.
yeah, these are
And
elite
how many of
managers.
them are going to
Yeah,
take responsibility and put their hands up and say, actually, but the other side of that is that they're just not good enough. The shit, they're not good. The players they've got are not good enough. But the club's that toxic from top to bottom. It's been proven. It's just like, you look at Rashford, he's playing with a smile on his face. Yeah, I don't think he's particularly improved that much, but he looks like he's enjoying his football.
I've just
Sanchez,
seen him run. I've just
Sanchez
seen him make a run
he,
in the game here.
he's not
So yeah,
stopping at Chelsea. That he's going back to United, so he'll be going.
yeah, he will be good. Yeah, but no, it's funny, and it's interesting from a.
But I know what
I
you're
mean,
saying because I'm on the Boston United Facebook page, the fan page, and
hmm,
after football on Tuesday, Monday, I started talking to Neil for a good while like, about football, obviously about what's his thoughts stopping up and all the rest of it. And I said to him, I said, you know what? I said, I get involved. He said, I know, I saw your comments the other week. He said, I
really,
obviously read them. He said, but I can't comment on them. And I said, I don't know what it is. I mean, I know what it is because I've got that investment in Boston with having worked there.
yeah.
But it's like, I just said, I don't know why I get involved. I mean, Liverpool, I stand back. I'll give a bit of an opinion, but I won't get involved like that. But I do with Boston for some reason. And there's this, there was one idiot the other week saying, "Oh, the chairman needs to put more money in." And I was like, I tell you what, mate, you pay your mortgage, you pay your bills, whatever you've got left, put into the club. Why?
Yeah.
Why would I do that? Well, why should he put more money in? Because
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
requesting it.
It
Just
just
because you're saying to him, right, we need this player, you put some money in. I said, at what point is he putting enough money in? And he was like, well, he should sell it then. Sell the club. I went, okay, fair enough. They'd probably sell it. He'd be happy to sell it. He's getting on a bit. He's put all his time and effort into the club. He's put 16 years of it. He's got you out of debt. He's got you a brand new stadium. He's pushing you for promotion. Got your promotion. Now it's pushing to stay in the league sort of thing.
yeah.
Yeah, he'd probably be happy to walk away now and sell it. I said, well, it more goes on to running a football club than you actually realise, mate. And all
Just
you're saying is he should just keep putting his hand in his pocket. For what?
Villa have just scored, by the way. Morgan Rogers has just scored.
Has
Sorry,
he?
it's been
He was
interrupted.
at
Yeah.
Lincoln, wasn't it, a couple of years back on loan?
Prince William's celebrating. Um, but yeah, no, football fans, and that's what I think. I think the problem is football fans don't like look at the business side of it. They just look at what happens on a Saturday. They just
Yeah.
look at what happens on a Tuesday, and that's it. There's no background to it. It's kind of it's just there's no
What it takes
context.
to get the better players there, what it takes to actually keep players there, what it takes to actually
Yeah,
pay for them. Pay for. I mean, like we all know, utility bills have gone up. They don't stay the same at a football club.
no,
Same
no,
as the month.
yeah.
Their gas and electric goes up. All their running costs go up. It's absolutely mental, mate.
Yeah, it is. It is, and and it's sad, really, because you have people who are working like long hours, and for a lot of them, it's for not a lot of money.
Voluntary. Some of it's even voluntary, isn't it?
Yeah, but the Oldham released their accounts for last year or year before. I think it's 23-24. I think they come out, um, and they're losing 10 grand a day.
And the chairman's not putting his hand in his pocket.
Yeah,
Well,
do you know, like, and they're putting all this effort in and they're losing 10 grand a day. And obviously, what they've had to do is they took over from an absolute charlatan who run them into the ground. So
Yeah,
they've had to do a lot of sorting, a lot of building, a lot of fixing, a lot of whatever, and a lot of money from, well, it'll cost a lot of money to do that. And I'm sure they would have known that, for the first year, maybe 2 years, that we're going to make a big loss here. But they've probably understood that and gone into it. But that doesn't make that loss any smaller if you know it's coming. Like,
yeah.
it's still a loss, isn't it? And it's
Well, that's what Dave did at Boston. Dave, at the time, Dave and Neil. I
did he
don't know if
take
you
over
know the
when
story.
Steve Evans left?
Yes. Well,
Yeah,
that was when. Yeah, basically,
they got done for tax fraud, didn't they?
the Boston United played at York Street, as you know. York Street was owned by I think they're called the McAlpin brothers or something like that, which are the local rogues anyway, the corruptors own. Steve Evans was there. James Rodwell was there. They ran Boston United into the ground. There was £4 million in debt, I do believe. So Dave has got them out of that, and they went to the fans forum. And Neil says, "Well, I'm on holiday. Do you mind if you go?" Because Neil was actually the Boston fan. Dave was on the board at Lincoln City.
Okay.
So it was Neil that was the actual Boston fan. And he said, "Oh, he said, I'm on holiday. Will you go?" And they was the chief sponsors at the time.
Chestnut, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And Chestnut Homes was, yeah, the chief sponsor. So he went, and they wouldn't even let him in the ground to have the forum. They held it in York Street car park. They shut the doors, said, "No, you're not coming back in. That's it." So Dave walked away owning Boston United Football Club, having paid £1 for them, which is what they do, isn't it? There
Yeah.
has to
You
be
take the debt on, but yeah.
he bought them for £1, but he also inherited a £4 million debt
Mhm.
with Best Boston United FC with no ground to play at. So his first thing was obviously go to McAlpin Brothers and say to him, "Can we renegotiate the lease?" So they did that. And I think that, it was a 15-year lease or something like that, or four, I can't remember, but But basically, it was, and then they wanted to sell anyway, so they wouldn't renew it again. So they end up. That's why they had to build this stadium. So he's reduced the deficit of the debts. They're now a club running functionally, built the stadium for them and everything,
And then
and
not put enough money in.
he's not putting enough money in.
It's wild, isn't
It's
it?
like,
It's
yeah,
wild. Football fans are wild. Like just so if you are listening and you are listening to this, understand the kind of intricacies of football. I mean, I read a thing today. It's funny. Oh, has that gone over the line? No, sorry. Martinez has just made a save and clawed one back. Um, Manchester United fan wrote saying, I didn't think I'd have to, what was it? I didn't think I'd have to show my mum's will to Manchester United so that my dad could take over her season ticket. And then he put another tweet on saying, and actually, I didn't think I'd have to show a death certificate either. Thanks, my United. Just to change over a death certificate. PSG have just scored. Just to change over a season ticket for for it. Again, but I mean, there are businesses that are run well, and there's businesses that aren't run well, and I think that's a lot of the problem.
Man United has been. I mean, I didn't. I mean, don't get me wrong. Every opportunity, I'd love to hammer Man United, but I just cannot believe how poorly they have been run. They had 450 staff that they've got rid of. I mean, that if you're overstaffed by 450 people, that I mean, all right, yeah, you're a big concern, but that's just wow,
But
isn't it?
that doesn't take a like a brain surgeon to work out if you're inflated by 450 staff.
Yeah,
It's kind of and do you know what? And I don't really know the intricacies of Man United. I don't care to know. I haven't really taken. I've only wanted to see their demise since the 1994 FA Cup semi-final when Mark Hughes closed his eyes and swung his leg at a volley in the last minute of extra time to make it 1-1. That's the only time. That's the last time I really paid any interest to Man United. But Jim Ratcliffe had to come in and do what he's doing because he has to stop the rot, right? Like
oh yeah.
you have to turn the train around at some point, and to do that, you have to unload, and
The
that's
fans are even turning against him now, though, aren't they?
yeah, they are, yeah, which is crazy, which is just mental, isn't
Yeah,
it?
fickle, isn't it?
It's just crazy. Um, Anything else? So so just going on to the coach thing, getting rid of your coach and stuff. You were a coach of or you were a head coach of Lincoln Moorlands, right? You're a manager of Lincoln Moorlands, head coach.
I manage the Lincoln Moreland side.
Yeah,
Uh, I've managed Saturdays and Sundays,
right.
and I've also I coached a girls team from
Oh,
the age
okay. On
from
that, I've just taken over the beginning of Netlam girls football.
you
Um,
have.
yeah, so I've been tasked with kind of that they've started it. I took the coaching of the senior girls, so ages 9 to 12. Yeah, 9 to 12. And we've got another coach who does the smaller ones. But kind of started it from the ground, which is nice, from the ground
Yeah,
floor, which
but
is
that's
good.
what we did. To be fair, we
Yeah,
went from under 12s up to under 16s. Then we went into the Gainsborough Lincoln Ladies League.
nice.
But when we started out and we was getting beat 5, 6, 7, 8-0, 8-1,
Yeah,
5-1s, whatever. And not the last season in the as girls rather than ladies, we won the league and cup double.
oh, nice.
Yeah,
So we I
don't get me wrong. We started off as you have to with 8 players or whatever it is, and then you go
yeah,
from that to
you
the
have to
11.
build, you have to start from somewhere, don't you?
Yeah,
But
but then
I
we inherited some players that was at Ruston's because Ruston's folded, so 2 or 3 of their players came. So better players came in, and you know how it works.
Yeah, absolutely.
From
But yeah, you
start
have
to
to
finish.
start though.
Yeah,
We started 2 weeks ago. It's on a Saturday morning. I don't know if this is not an advertisement for it, but It's on a Saturday morning down at Mulsanne, down at Netland. We had 30 girls turn up on Saturday, second week.
That's good though, isn't it?
It's really good, isn't it?
It's
So
the
if
girls'
anybody wants to
football.
follow us, we are called Netland Pumas. Do have a Facebook group if anybody wants to follow us. Um, but yeah, so yeah, it was really good. And you know what? I'm so impressed because I've coached boys as well, kids. I'm so impressed by like their kind of attention span and their attitude to it. I'm really
I didn't have that. I found it harder. Obviously, you've got to deal with the um, what's the word?
yeah,
Uh,
different issues, right?
yeah, temperamental women when they're in the periods and all that sort of shit. And oh, mate, it was
Yeah.
yeah. We had a
Well,
couple
no,
of
do you know these girls are turning up and they're fantastic. They're listening, they're doing as they're told. I say doing as they're told, they're following instruction really well. Especially this week, that was they just broke up for Easter. So they broke up on the Friday, turned up on a Saturday, and notoriously, the coach in the boys team, they're wild around this time because they're tired and they're not mentally switched on and stuff. But the girls were really good, so I'm really really impressed with what they're doing. And I'll tell you what, there was one girl turned up, and I'm not gonna name names or anything. She turned up in a black Inter Miami kit. There was three Inter Miami kits, by the way, but she turned up in a black Inter Miami kit, and she was dead quiet, really quiet. First week was this week, and I didn't really know her, didn't really, and you talk to her a little bit and stuff. And I tell you what, she played the game. She scored 4 goals in the first probably 4 minutes. So I had to switch teams because she was too good. And then she took a penalty, and I put her dad in goal. Her dad went in goal, and she took this penalty, mate. She's 10. She rifled this penalty in the top corner. And her dad said, she said, "Oh, my dad was always going to try and save mine." And I went, "Your dad wouldn't have got near that if there were two of them in it." She rifled one top corner, mate. You know, he was like, "Where's that come from?" But just on the coaching
girls,
side,
boys.
then let's leave it on a anecdote a little bit. So, do you have any experience then of losing, maybe going through a bad patch, maybe going through a bad spell?
Losing what with as a coach.
Yeah, losing games, maybe going out of
Yeah,
form.
as a what happened was we ended up going in the Central Midlands League, and we was an average side in the Lincolnshire League, but they put us up into the Central Midlands League.
Okay,
So the first, I think it was probably about we played about 10 games. I've got the program actually. I got it out the other day. Did I send a picture of it? I did, didn't I? I put a picture of it. But I
yeah,
got the program out the other day, and we'd played about 10 games, and we was teetering around mid-table when we handed our notice in. There was politics behind the scenes going on. But the first 4 or 5 games, we got beat 3-4 nils, and it was like, right, bloody hell, but by the time we handed our notice in and left, we was on a 5 game unbeaten run. So the beginning of that season was like really quite difficult because of the standard of the two different.
yeah.
But
And the traveling,
yeah, oh
commitment
yeah,
goes
because
up,
us
doesn't
going
it?
out to Hull was going over the Humber Bridge was it was
Mm.
traveling and everything else got but it was just like an eye opener. But we settled it down. We got a system, and yeah, we was a 5 game unbeaten run. But
So,
it was the first 5 games where I just thought, fucking hell, this could be a long season.
yeah.
And
So
the
we
same with the girls. When we started off with the girls, they was like, it was like, but it was about, and I hate to say this, and it's going to sound really bad, but when I played, it wasn't about, oh, just playing. It don't matter if you win or not. It did fucking matter if you won or not. It's always mattered if you win or not. But
yeah.
with the girls, it was like, oh, well, they're enjoying themselves. It don't matter. And
That's
it
what
was
it
like,
is now, mate. You
but
now when I was, and you can't. It's really difficult because I kind of stopped. I stopped coaching boys because I found it difficult. This was a few years ago, but I found it difficult to separate what it was like when I was a kid to what it's like when that now they're a kid. You're now a cheerleader. You're not a coach. You're not a manager. You're not a you're not you're now a cheerleader, really. an organizer and a cheerleader at the same time. Um,
But going back to what you said before about the bad period, I can remember that beginning of that season, and I come in the change rooms, and it was something like probably about the fourth or fifth loss that we had. I can't remember the full facts now. I mean, going back some years, but and I come in and I got in the change room and said, right, Ollie, sit down now. And I can remember being like, going to sound a bit of a fanny now, but I was fucking welling up because
yeah.
I said, it don't fucking matter to you any of you. You do not fucking care. And I put, me, Nick, Rocky, Rocky was he was my secretary. I had Joe, who was my physio coach, and then me and Nick ran it. Nick Humphries, he was my
Oh,
assistant.
okay, Nick Humphrey, yeah.
So, and I said, we put all this fucking effort in all week long for you lot. And I said, you come in and you fucking come off the pitch and you don't care, you don't give a fuck. And I was angry. You know what I mean? I wasn't just upset, I was
Yeah.
angry. Fucking really. And I said, you just don't give a fuck. And then after that, they started knuckling down, and it was, yeah, took
Yeah,
that.
and we had an opposite situation really to that. We were a bad Lincoln team when we took over. We were bottom of the Lincoln League on a Saturday when we took over for Skelly. And I think 3 years we won the league and the cups, both cups. Got to the cup quarter final, the county cup quarter final. Um, beating teams like Heckington were always a good team with us.
We
The
had some great games
the
back in the
the Railway were another one that were good.
yeah.
Um, but we would
I
we
managed them. I managed the railway. I was player manager at the
well, there
railway.
you go. So
League, we won the league, and then when we won the league, that's when we went into the Lincolnshire League.
yeah, so we did the same. So we basically, so the thing with Skelly was it was a group of mates really who were from Skelly or kind of linked to Skelly in some way. So there wasn't a lot of outsiders from there. There was a couple, don't get me wrong,
But I remember your setup. I can remember it. You got the brothers there, didn't you?
yeah,
Fucking hell, what's the names? Can't remember the names now. And then you had Johnny Bell.
yeah, that's
Uh,
right. And so it was good in that. But then we went into the Lincolnshire League. We basically had a decision to make of whether we're going to commit to it or not. And we were like, yeah, we'll commit to it. Let's all commit to it, and we'll go in and we'll do it. And we played. I think we went the first 10 games unbeaten in the Lincolnshire League. Um, so we took the step up really well. We played a team called Harvest, who I think turned into Humberthurm, who I think then turned into Cleethorpes Town, who are doing really well now. So I think actually they kind of went through. And Harvest were unbeaten and we were unbeaten, and they came to Skelly. Now, teams were coming from Lincoln United and places like that and playing on the Skellingthorpe pitch. It was difficult.
yeah,
We had to mark the pitch out with rope every game, and we had
rope
to
it all up. There
honestly,
has to be a segregation and shit.
yeah, fucking hell, we had to have technical boxes on, and it was a park. It wasn't anything.
But that's
Um,
we went from NK in the Lincoln League to that's when we started playing from Moorlands.
from Moorlands, yeah. So Harvest came. I think they're from the Grimsby area, and like I say, they turned
Yeah,
into
yeah, I can
Cleethorpes
remember
Town in the
playing
end.
against them. Yeah,
I think that's how it went. But we beat them. We beat them 3-2 or 4-3, 3-2 or 4-3.
they was one of the teams to beat, weren't they?
Yeah, and basically we were the two undefeated teams we beat them. And this was probably November time. And we were like, fucking hell, we're in with a real shout here, real shout. And then after Christmas, it just all died off. It all died off. It got to the point where we couldn't muster a team by about March. Just the commitment had gone and stuff. And don't get me wrong, I'm not blaming anybody for it. At the end of the day, people didn't want to travel to Cleethorpes, and people didn't want to travel to on a Saturday. It was very different to playing Lincoln League. You were back home in half an hour, no matter what.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the first 10 games, yeah, we were top of the league. I think we were top of the league after 10 games. and then it just died off. But that's a real shame because we actually had a probably if we went probably Netlin where Netlin are now, like Netlin are winning the Lincolnshire League. I think they've got to win the next two games to win the league or next one game to win the league. And they won it last year as well. And I think they're pushing now.
It's good to see Netland back on the map because
They're pushing to go step higher. They've just put a massive fence around the new pitch, and I think
yeah, but
the idea is
they
to
was
put
Northern
turnstiles on
Counties
it.
at one time. They was like really they was looking to push and compete at Linky with Linky United at one point,
Yeah, yeah.
and then all of a sudden it
And I
just
think that's the aim really, is to get back there. Is
all
get
went
back
pear
there. The
shaped.
one problem they've got, that Netlham have got, and if Netlham are listening, I do apologise, they're all starting to get a little bit old. They're all starting to get a bit older. They're all starting to get married. They're all starting to have kids. Do you know those kind of things? And so the players that see you through, unless you've got a really good kind of succession plan to bring people through at this level, like you look at your Linky Uniteds now. You look at their youth setup now, and the amount that they get through. There is a succession plan. Obviously, not everybody does it, and not everybody
Yeah,
whatever. But if there's two or three, you get two or three out of that, then it's working, right?
continuity is there, isn't it? You keep the continuity.
Yeah, and they've got to do it. So it's really good. No, but thank you. I mean, that's probably it for tonight. I think we probably put the world to rights. It's 1-1 currently, PSG Villa. Um, it's probably been all PSG, which you probably expect, but Villa scored a good
They're
goal.
holding in, so that's the main thing.
Yeah,
Isn't
it was a great goal by PSG. I don't know who scored it, but it was a great. I mean, it was outside the box. It's kind of looped a little bit, but it's hit the bar and gone in. Just a final thing is if you do follow us on Facebook and you do follow us on YouTube, just to kind of open the curtain a little bit, we are as a walking football team in discussions at this point to look at how we enter the walking football FA Cup. Um, it's been a conversation that we've had. I've seen that the Walking Football FA Cup was won last year. The over 40s section was won by Nottingham Forest veterans team. There's Swindon Town vets. They've all got veteran teams they've all got walking football teams now. A lot of the
yeah,
professional
not the
clubs.
Masters anymore either. So I think that's kind of a bit of a
Yeah, I think you get accreditation, you get added accreditations for it. So I think that's why they have an arm of walking football. But we've only just found out that there's a walking football FA Cup. So I think from a content and a journey point of view, I think we're probably going to have to look at how we do a road to the FA Cup kind of content
it would
for us.
definitely have to be affiliated. So that route of Netland might have to come into it.
Yeah, so we are looking at being affiliated with Netlham because they are the local team and a few of the lads who come down are coaches there. We do have Boston's is he assistant chairman,
Vice chairman, yeah.
vice chairman, yeah,
Yeah.
who plays for us as well. So
They've actually got some of the England players at Boston for the walking football.
I feel like I'd be better than them. I'd just going to put it out there. I do feel like I would be the best player in the world if I was a professional rugby football player. Just, is there a Ballon d'Or
You
for?
seem to lack on confidence sometimes, Chris, if you don't
Yeah, I'm
mind.
very humble and I'm very, very realistic. But if is there a walking football Ballon d'Or? Because I feel like I should be up for it, especially
I
after
think
my
what I'll do is I'll get into UEFA and see what the crack
yeah,
is.
see what you can do, especially after my back-heeled Megs on you, Daz. And you weren't on last week for me to talk about it, and I thought to myself, I probably won't mention it, but I have mentioned it now.
No, yeah,
If,
yeah, yeah.
if
You
anybody
mentioned.
wants to see it, it is on Facebook and on.
I thought that was put to bed, but
It is in my national record of achievement as well. I've got it still shots of it in there. It's on my CV, and it's in with my birth certificate. So if anybody wants to see that, no. So that's kind of, I think from a us point of view, I think the aim is really to kind of go a little bit further with what we're doing. We kind of need to knuckle down on how we play, I think, as well. But so from a content point of view, I want, if you want to follow us, we are going to be starting a journey on how a group of dinosaurs, fat dinosaurs, undertook the Walking Football FA Cup route. And if you like our podcast, please like and subscribe. We do enjoy hearing people talk to us about it. We've lost a couple of members over the last couple of weeks and they'll be back next week, I'm sure. And obviously we can have a proper discussion on it. But Darren, thank you so much for tonight. Really appreciate your time, mate.
And yours,
Good
mate.
luck to Liverpool on Saturday. Who have you got? Do you know?
3 points, need them.
Yeah, yeah. I think. Do you know who you got?
I think it's West Ham without looking. I
Oh,
think it's the
okay.
Hammers.
Hey, I tell you, just really quickly, it's going really under the radar how badly Graham Potter's doing there, isn't it?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't. I think they'll give him time, but he's what football he.
They haven't turned that corner, are they?
No,
Like you thought they would. And they've spent a lot of money as well, haven't they?
he's still inherited, hasn't he? Yeah. Well, no, no. I nearly said Chelsea then, but then I saw it was that split arse game. It is. It's West Ham on Sunday.
West
2 o'clock
Ham,
kickoff
okay,
it
on
is
Sunday as well. Okay,
at home. So
right, okay. So what is it? You need about 11 points to win the league or something, is it? Is that right?
it's something, yeah, somewhat like that, isn't it?
Something
Win
like
it.
that. Yeah. So good luck to that. I don't know. I think Oldham are away at Yeovil. Oh,
The Ovals, they're not doing so well this year, though, are they? They're mid-table, so
yeah, but what a horrible journey that is for
I
an
know,
Oldham fan.
I know.
Like, fuck it. I'll tell you what, we're taking 300, 400 fans everywhere, which is amazing for a national league. Like, fair
Yeah,
play to Oldham fans. Just understand that you know a good business can run hand in hand with a football side as well. Just understand that. So just leave the football side and just understand that they work hand in hand. But please like and subscribe to us. We will keep making these. We will keep talking. I'm sure it's just a pity the Premier League's a bit boring at the moment. But the
that's
Champions
why I
League,
watched Leeds Middlesbrough last night, and it was
yeah,
what
Leeds,
I
Middlesbrough.
watched.
That's
I
good.
watched
Those top three,
yeah,
they're swapping and changing all the time, aren't they?
but yeah, well, they're back top now. There was third after Saturday, and then now they're back top
Yeah,
again.
the other
Last night.
Sheffield United lost and Burnley drew, didn't they, last night? So
Yeah, Birmingham's in the league below though, but yeah.
no, Burnley. Sorry, so,
I thought you said Birmingham.
no,
Sorry.
not Birmingham. No,
Yeah, no,
they're
Burnley
walking
drew,
them.
and yeah, like say United lost. So
Yeah, Birmingham are walking.
saying Sunderland's not in it, but they're only 6 points behind, so anything can happen.
Yeah, they're a weird one though, aren't they? Sunderland are one of those where I don't want to see go up because they come straight back down, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, I think, well, yeah, it's a big gap for them all, isn't it now?
Yeah, it is.
It's,
And I saw something. Was it something that uh, I admit this may be completely wrong, right? Well, apparently there's a proposal for teams coming up to start on a point on points. So start on like 12.
it was it was April Fools.
Oh, what was it? Fucking
Yeah,
tell
it
me.
was 1st of April, mate. Yeah, they're
Oh,
going to
was it? I
start
didn't see. I think I only saw it a couple of days ago. So it was probably like I've seen it afterwards. I didn't see
yeah,
it on
it was
April
1st
1st.
of
But
April, mate. It was an April Fool's joke that they're going to start on a +6 to give them a chance to
was
stop them.
it? Oh, well,
Yeah.
to be fair, it's not the worst idea, is it? Really, a little bit. They've got to do something because it is getting a little bit. It's now getting too much in it, where it's just.
It
Was
is,
it
but
four
then
out of the last 12 have stayed up?
you can, yeah. I mean that's it is that business side of it, and money talks again, isn't it? But then you've got to look at the likes of you look at Forest. Forest's a great example, and you like you Bournemouth's now. You finish out that if you manage to stay up that first season, then you can push on because you almost know that there's going to be two sides worse than you the following year that's coming up. And
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But then you look where
yeah,
Bournemouth are now, you look where Brentford are now, you look where Ipswich are going to go. So is Southampton, so is Leicester.
Leicester.
But then you
Fucking hell,
look
they've
at
been
you look
so
at
bad as well, haven't they?
yeah, but Brentford, Bournemouth. So I mean, that's why you get your people from Lincoln that live that dream because they're no bigger than Lincoln, but and they've got that dream, they've got that.
I think I think Lincoln can probably stop dreaming about that
But
shit.
it's all about the ownership again, though, isn't it? Clive Nates has openly said he ain't got enough money to really push up, but he's always constantly looking for investors. investors. He's looking all the time, and
So, we were going to go, but didn't they? Aren't they linked to something in America? Aren't they like?
yeah, well, they've got about four different investors in America now.
Are they?
Yeah, oh, they've got about four different investors.
Yeah.
Clive's from South Africa.
I think Lincoln are punching above their weight. I think they're a
Oh,
league
I
team,
do.
but
That's why it's frustrating when you see, same again, the fans saying, "Oh, why aren't we pushing for the league? Why aren't we top of the league?" It's like, well, you've got the worst budget in the league and you're mid-table. So
yeah,
what
yeah.
what are you doing wrong?
Lincoln died for me when they signed Lucas off us. That was it. That was
I'll
they're dead to me, Luke.
have a I'll see if I can get Sam on one week for you.
Yeah, please do. No, don't because I'll
No,
either.
he might just give you a bit of an insight to why he did what he did. Or I think I don't know this, and I'm secondary guessing it. I think he's probably looking back now and regretting it.
I hope so.
Because Lincoln are fucking treating him like a piece of shit.
Oh, didn't even. I don't think he's even made the bench last couple of weeks. I don't know if
Now,
he's injured.
I
Oh,
know there's been times like the other way. I was speaking to his mum and dad the other week, and I said to him like, why won't Auntie been playing? And he said, oh, he was actually poorly the previous week, so
right.
he had been ill, and he said so that's why he hadn't played the previous week.
Yeah.
Um, no, I mean overall, when they first brought him in, you correct me if I'm wrong, but he played the last 10 games for Oldham on the spin,
Yeah.
and then they said he's not.
Bossed it. He bossed it, and then he didn't play the first four for Lincoln. And the guy come out. I don't even know.
Yeah,
He's
he
like
said he's not
coach.
match fit.
He's not match fit, and it was bullshit.
And the second excuse was they're just tactically they're trying to get him tactically up to speed. He's an ex-Premiership player,
Premier League footballer,
Championship
yeah. You're
player,
probably looking
and
at
you're telling
Gabbana
me,
going, yeah, your tactics are really off the
yeah,
chart. Like, I've
yeah.
never seen these tactics before in my 30 years of playing football. Like, yeah, like fucking ridiculous.
If I pass it to
That's
you
some
and
dog
move there,
shit.
you pass it back, and then I see him running, I can pass it over. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm being a
yeah.
bit facetious, and I know clubs and teams have a tactic and a fucking strategy of that, but fucking hell
Mate,
on.
he'd not played. He signed for us in October. He'd not played since like the April before for Rotherham, and he played for us. And he played for us the first week he signed for us. He trained with us for 2 weeks, signed for us, played away at Tranmere in League Two, and ran the fucking show and set up a goal with a back heel after about 25 minutes. Like people can get through a game. Do you know what I mean?
You get through on adrenaline at that, don't you? You know what I mean? But
Yeah, but when you're that experienced and you know how, you can get through a game without having to run around like headless chicken. It's just that you don't have
yeah,
to, fitness it was bullshit. So,
and the general census was he was actually running the show in training every day, and all the players were like, "How come you're not starting? How come he's not playing? How come he's, And it's like, don't get me wrong, when you're McGrandles and you're getting in ahead of him, you'd be thinking, I don't want him to play well. I don't want it
yeah, no,
because you
of course.
selfishly
Yeah,
do, don't you?
yeah.
You want your team
Competition,
to
innit?
play well, and you
Yeah.
want the other nine players to be absolutely. I want him. I want him. I want him. I want him. But he's better than me. But I don't want him. I want to play.
But mate, Oldham would have been top of the league if he'd have stayed with us. So I
Yeah,
hope he never plays for Lincoln again, if I'm honest.
he might not.
No, I don't mean that.
He
I don't
might
mean
not.
that. He's probably one of the best players I've seen at Oldham for a long, long time.
He's a good player,
Um,
and he's one that he had to work at it. He got released, had to work at it, ended up back at Lincoln College doing sports tech or
yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
and
But
then he
he's really
went on the
good.
went on
Just so you know,
the
Kvaratskhelia, whatever his name is, just scored, make it
okay.
2-1. So, all right, mate. Thank you so much for tonight. Thank you,
No
everybody,
worries.
for listening. We will speak to you again next week. Like and subscribe, Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify. And thank you. Have a good week. Cheers, mate. Take care.
All right, Chris. See you later,
Bye
mate.
bye. Bye bye.